Hey everyone and welcome to another video. So today we're going to be covering Solo Queue Concepts episode 3 and we're going to be honing in on mid-game farming, when to group, when to split, that sort of thing. And again, like the other episodes within this content series, I'm going to keep it very practical using a lot of examples from my own gameplay, literally going through specific situations and really breaking down step by step what do I consider and how you guys should go about making similar decisions in your own games. Now, over the past few months, I've been seeing the same questions and same problems crop up again and again and again. Now, hopefully some of these resonate with you and I'm hopefully going to put them to rest with this video. Now, the first one I see all the time is, Curtis, how do I keep up my farm numbers in the mid game? How do I know when to group or when to be in the side lane? When should I stay in the side lane and actually split push rather than grouping? When is it worth sacrificing farm for grouping with the team? And, how do I know when and where a fight will break out? So I'm hopefully going to cover and add a little bit of context, color in that picture within this video, really trying to answer all of these questions. Now, in order to improve your mid-game decision making, there are a bunch of factors that you need to understand at a very fundamental level. Now, the reason this is the case is because, as we know, League is an extremely complex, complicated game with a lot of variables, so it's likely you're basically never going to see the same situation again. Now, what does that mean for us? When it comes to VOD reviewing a specific situation in mid-game, if you look at it in very specific terms, now, in this specific situation, if I see this situation again, I know exactly what to do. But if you think like that, it's going to be really hard for you to improve over the long run. So what do we do instead? This is where we have to bring it back to the fundamentals, these specific factors. So when it comes to the VOD review, you're going to start to see the trends. Okay, every single time here, I'm just not considering my teammate's location, or I'm not considering the level of engagement, or I'm not considering their threat on us, or our vision, or that sort of thing. So let's actually go ahead and break down these factors. And actually, one quick note, guys, the way I like to view mid-game is that it's a mini-game within itself, where I'm always trying to balance efficiency with impact. So I'm trying to find a way to maximize my strength through getting the most amount of XP and gold, but conversely, be a very good teammate, kill structures, be group for those fights, and that sort of thing. So that's something I'm going to be referring to a lot with throughout all the examples within this video. Now, the first factor I like to consider is my team ahead or behind? This is very important to consider. And the main reason being is that if your team is ahead, what does that most likely mean? It probably means that they're going to have push off the wave, they're going to have a lot more vision, river control, and be able to see the enemy coming from a mile away. But conversely, if my team is behind, they're not going to have push off the wave, there's going to be a lot of fog or war, so the chances are, if the enemy wants to engage, they probably can. So when I am behind, or my team's behind, I tend to group a lot more, because I know we're just not going to they're not going to be able to react to my pings, they're going to be face checking bushes, that sort of thing. So it's very important to understand this. Number 2, the level of engage of the enemy and threat onto you. This is a very obvious one. If the enemy has a lot of engage, they have Malphite ultimate, Hecarim ultimate, Vi ultimate, very, heavy engaged champions that can just go with a click of a button, then I tend to group a lot more, knowing I can't afford to come to the fight late because the fight's going to be over, or I can't afford to TP from behind, that sort of thing. The fight's going to be played way too fast, so I need to be there from the start. But then also threat onto me. If the enemy doesn't have much threat, they don't have much engage, then maybe I can actually push very deep into the side lane, knowing that, if they come, I can just disengage really easily. And that's definitely the case when you're playing champions like Zed or Fizz. We have a lot of mobility. Number 3, game pace. If I feel like the game is being played at a very fast pace where there's a lot of kills, a lot of skirmishes, a lot of team fights, again, I tend to group a lot more, expecting that a fight will break out at any minute. So again, that's just something that will come with experience, and we'll refer to that within the examples. Position of teammates, largely teammates and enemy. So what I mean by this is, my theory in League of Legends is that your teammate's location is way more important than knowing where the enemy is, because even if you don't know where the enemy is, but you're with your team, it doesn't really matter, because then worst case scenario just turns into a team fight or a skirmish or an even numbers skirmish. So when it comes to mid game or deciding when to group, when to split, I can largely dictate, this helps me largely dictate, how deep in the side lane can I push out? Or is my team looking to do something else, posturing to do something else, in which, potentially I have to start grouping with them. But if they're all in base, then maybe I have a bit of time to farm jungle camps, do other things before having to group. So it's very important that you're always taking into account position of teammates. Number 5. Now, this is a weird one, and I don't really know how to conceptualize it, but it's just a feeling, this intuition that's largely dictated by how people are posturing and positioning in the level of vision on the map. This will come with time and experience, and I will kind of highlight and talk about this specifically in the examples, but for those of you who really understand this, you know there's that feeling you get where you just pan your camera and you can just see by the way they're posturing or the way they're moving, you can just tell that they're looking to engage, they're looking to fight. And this again kind of ties into game pace, where like if the game is being played really fast, I have this intuition or this feeling that a fight probably will break out. And I, again, will show examples of that. And then lastly here, vision. If there's a lot of vision on the map, we have plenty of vision, then again, I could probably... There's a lot of time for me to ping them back if we do see the enemy, so I could probably be in the side lane a little bit more or have time to do other things before grouping. But if we have no vision, then I probably need to group first, establish vision, that sort of thing. And note, one little note here, guys. It's a misconception that you can get 250 CS by 25 minutes every single game. That's just not the case. There's going to be a lot of games where you have to adapt to the game pace. You have to adapt to the level of engagement of the enemy. You just have to adapt to what's happening in that specific game. Your goal shouldn't be to get a certain number. Your goal should just be to maximize the farm that you can get in that specific game. In one game, that might be 300 CS by 28 minutes, but in another game, maybe it's only going to be, 180 by 25 minutes. So again, I don't want you to view it numbers wise. I want you to view it in very specific individual games. And again, we'll talk about that in the examples. Now, one last thing before we dive into the examples is that there are differences between what you can do in differing ranks. If you're a platinum or a diamond or a gold player, how often that you have to group is going to be a little bit different to, say, a master tier, grandmaster, or challenger game. Now, within the examples, I actually played one of these games on a Smurf account, sitting at around high platinum, low diamond level. And it was very interesting to me because, again, I did feel the need that I had to group a lot more because people were getting caught and the game pace was very, very fast. But when you get into higher elos, you can tend to communicate with your team a lot more. The jungles will actually hover you in the side lane, and that sort of thing. But again, it's nothing that's impossible to adapt to. This is where you just bring it back to here. So you might find out that your specific elo that you're within, maybe the game pace is just really fast, or maybe you just have a feeling or an intuition. Like if you look at these factors, you'll be able to or help increase your decision making in terms of when to group, when to split, as long as you bring it back to factors and don't look at it in very specific non-actionable terms, if that makes sense. And again, I will show examples of what I consider, especially within that platinum game where I was playing Annie. So I tried to play a very, really, I guess, simple champion to really highlight that point as well. So let's go ahead and dive into a few examples, guys. So for the first example here, guys, this is me just playing Victor. We're at 18 minutes 30 within the game. I've got 178 CS, definitely heading into mid-game right now. Mid-tier 1's down, and we're actually quite far behind as a team. Now, I want to break down in this clip, how exactly do I maintain high farm, even though it's in a relatively fast-paced game and when my team is behind. Now, I'm going to try and commentate as I'm going along and really trying to break down what I'm thinking. So in this situation here, I'm actually communicating to the team about lane assignments because lane assignments are incredibly important for a whole host of reasons. But the main one, and the reason lane assignments are so important in high elo, or the way I view it, is that I don't want to share CS with someone else. I don't want to be in the same lane sharing XP and sharing gold. It's incredibly inefficient because there's 3 lanes on the map and there's a whole host of jungle camps that we need to get off the map as well. So in just terms of raw efficiency, it's not good to share XP if you don't really need to. So here, instead of actually going to mid, even though there was a wave here, I knew Ashe needed to be mid. Now, if I go mid and get that farm, then what is Ashe going to do? I mean, maybe, I guess Ashe can kind of share jungle creeps or jungle camps with the Lilia here, but I don't want to do that. I want to encourage her to be mid to fix the lane assignments. So in the meantime, I can't really go top here. I allow her to actually recall. So in the meantime, what do? I just start farming jungle camps. I know that I'm relatively close to my Morellos. I know blue buff's coming up very soon. This is the side of the map that I need to be on anyway. So instead of sharing XP mid, instead of just doing nothing, and I knew that the team was recalling and resetting, that sort of thing. I got Gromp, I get my wolves here. I wait for my blue buff to spawn. I get my blue buff on spawn. And then, obviously, Fiora in the top lane here is going to be shoving out the lane. So instead of that whole time, I could have been mid sharing CS with Ashe and then caught this wave theoretically. It's way better for me to get these jungle camps. And as it heads into mid to late game, they should be on your mid laner anyway, not your jungle. Now, this way, in this situation here, Fiora shoves deep. I end up getting the wave. Now, what do I see here? I saw just before that my jungle decided to recall. And now this is that factor where it comes into teammate location. So I theoretically could have stayed on the map right now if my jungle was here. But given he had recalled and I had enough gold for my Morellos, I decided to catch this wave and recall myself, because I want to sync my recalls as much as I can with my team. And again, I don't really feel safe walking all the way up here knowing that my jungler's not really in position. Yes, we have vision, but I know Fiora is somewhere in that area. So I recall, I get my Morellos, I have a pink ward here, I come out of base, and what do we see here? They don't need me mid. They don't need me mid. They have plenty of vision right now. The wave's in a really bad spot here. I want to fix this wave. And my go-to mindset when heading into mid-game is I want to shove this wave as deep as possible every single time. So generally it comes to one or two situations. If I don't immediately need to group on an objective, I will try and go for a side wave. Now, if I don't have the appropriate vision, let's say I didn't have this vision or I'm far behind and I'm too scared to walk up there, then I try to group mid, get established vision with my team, and get my jungle to escort me topside. I'll literally type in chat, say, hover me topside. Then, if my jungle won't do that, then I'll have to accept reality, maybe farm jungle camps, or maybe just group mid to establish more vision, get maybe the AD carry and support to hover me, that sort of thing. Now, what do we see here? We've got plenty of vision in the river. My team's walking into river right now. We see kind of Fiora overextended, so we decide to collapse here, and then we go for a kill onto this Fiora and get a nice little pick onto this Fiora right now. So this entire time, and as a result, actually, we collapse because we see the enemy kind of overextended in mid. And then we get a nice few picks on the back end here. So this whole time, even though I haven't really been able to do anything aggressive, I was able to be in the right place at the right time. I didn't get caught out by Fiora. I've been farming pretty efficiently. And it's just, I'm really trying to show you guys and break down my thought process. So this is just a really good introductory example. And we'll go over a lot more complex examples as we go through this video. So we're in the same game here. This time we're 25 minutes and 48 seconds in. The next objective actually is a ocean dragon. So my mindset is, again, I want to be as efficient as possible with farm. If I don't need to group, I won't. If there's no immediate objective, I don't need to be there, then I'll probably be in the side lane or trying to be as efficient as possible with farm. So in this situation here, I actually saw the enemy Thresh back out of our jungle and begin to base on a ward. So my thought process was, okay, since Vlad's here, I saw Fiora bot, I see the enemy Thresh basing, it's highly likely that because my team's ready to back me up here, tying back to teammate location, tying back to vision, tying back to what's the next objective, that sort of thing, I know I have time to shove out a few waves, recall, and get back on the map before this next ocean dragon. So here, I'm just shoving out waves. My team's kind of hovering me, so I feel relatively safe. I saw Thresh recall. Looks like Vlad is actually backing up as well. I checked the bush with my laser just to make sure Vlad wasn't there as well. Now I'm putting two and two together. I'm thinking, okay, well, given that, again, I'm versing a Graves and a Vlad and Thresh recalled and I saw Varus mid, it's highly unlikely that I'm going to be able to die right now. They're very linear champions, where it ties down to threat, guys. Remember I was talking the factors threat and level of engage. They have pretty minimal engage, especially when Thresh isn't on the map. So I feel relatively safe catching this wave. Like, even if Vlad or Graves were to come, I feel like I could comfortably get out with my slow from my third hex score anyway. But more importantly, I was making an educated guess that they were probably going to recall and get preparing for that next ocean dragon. So knowing that I have a bit of vision in the river here, there's no immediate reason for me to group right now. I can actually continue and get this next wave as well. So what you'll find is that the further ahead you are, the more waves you will be able to shove, because just getting this wave isn't amazing. Like, it's better than nothing, but a lot of the time that can actually hurt me, because that could actually go down here and I actually lose a lot of CS. It could actually freeze down there, and I just lose a lot of CS, or it will start bouncing back, but I'll just lose a whole lot of CS. So not good. But in the meantime here, I know that I'm pretty close to my Lich Bane. I decide to recall, knowing that most likely I got to be at this fight. I don't want to TP in late. My TP is not even going to be up in time anyway. I need to be there with my team to establish control. So right now I have a few decisions to make. What do I see here on the map? We just pause it right now. Vlad's in the top lane right now. Dragon is coming up in around. It says 10 seconds before that I pinged it at 127, so around a minute 10. I don't feel like I have enough time to go top, shove a wave, then walk all the way down. And the reason being is that I know that the enemy team's going to look to control this area. And then my Ashe and Lilia and Karma, they're going to want to go mid and try and establish some control. And it's going to be a bit of like a wrestle for vision control. I know that I'm Victor. I can't afford to come in late to a fight. I believe the fight's going to be played relatively fast. So I know that I need to probably be there from the start. If this dragon was, again, a minute 40 or a minute 50 or 2 minutes away, then, maybe I could actually get this wave, walk all the way to mid with my team, that sort of thing. And my team was actually quite disciplined this game, tying into intuition, game pace, that sort of thing. They felt quite respectful when they were listening to ping, so I was quite confident with them not getting caught. Now, in this situation, given, again, I can't afford to go top right now, Alawi's skirmishing Fiora, what is my intuition? What is my mind telling me? Well, the fact that, again, tying back to teammate location, my Alawi is very deep on the map right now. Varus and Thresh have pushed off mid-wave, and they're looking to be posturing down towards bot. And most likely, because we know the next objective is Ocean Dragon, I could safely assume that the enemy Graves is most likely in this area somewhere. I might be wrong, but that's, again, an educated guess based off the information that I have. Combined with me having to be here anyway, and ideally wanting to be at the fight from the start because of my champion's identity, I decided to just beeline straight down bot lane. Because I was making an educated guess that a fight most likely will break out there. So I'm just pathing bot here. Now, I don't care, yes, I'm going to lose a bit of farm top, but again, this is where I'm trying to balance impact with efficiency. I was efficient before, I pushed out the waves, but now I can't really afford to be super efficient. I need to be with my team. And like I said, Graves on this area, I could safely assume that. I knew Alawi could actually buy time, and this was probably going to be an extended skirmish. Asher just misses. End up getting a kill onto this Fiora here. Kind of screw up my ultimate that I held. I thought I could burst her anyway. But we end up chasing down, getting a few kills here, which ends up being a really good result given we were kind of so far behind. So I thought this was like and then we end up getting like Dragon on the back end and that sort of thing. So I thought this was like a really solid example of, making an educated guess based off all of these factors that are at play to be there for a fight that I probably wouldn't have been. A lot of people maybe would have went straight mid, they would have went top, that sort of thing. And, maybe Fiora or these champions would have lived, or it could have been a lot worse. So let's actually dive into the next example. Now, in this example here is another game where I'm playing Victor. This time we're 19 minutes and 23 seconds in. My CS is not amazing, but it's okay. But this situation, I knew that the Baron was going to be the next objective. But I actually had TP and Riven didn't. So I said to the Riven, let me go bot lane, let me be in the side lane. You need to be top side for the next objective. And it happened to be the case that me and Orianna were both the champions with TP, because I think Akali and Riven TP to a fight earlier, whether it was a dragon or something like that. So I decided to go in the bot lane, and I was actually pretty confident in beating this Orianna in the side lane anyway, so I didn't mind this. And on top of that, just looking at the vision, guys, Graves had already been there, cleared camps, we have a bit of vision here. And we had a decent amount of defensive vision as well, so I felt quite comfortable being in this position in the side lane anyway. And I was actually versing a Kindred, and Kindred isn't overly effective versus Victor, because I feel like I can kite or at least trade kills if that was the case. And then our team could maybe get Baron on the top side or deny Kindred's top side camps or whatever. So anyway, I decided to go on the bot lane here. It's just me versus Orianna. Now, again, there is looking at the enemy team composition, let's go back and see the enemy team composition. I didn't really believe they had a lot of hard engage. We had a Morgana, Caitlyn, a Graves. Like, we had a lot of, Graves W is great for disengage. Caitlyn's E and traps are great for disengage. Morgana, shield, and bind, great for disengage. And again, MF, Zillion, not really much engage. Oriana's bot with me. Kindred's very linear. I guess Akali can be kind of engaged, but again, very, very unreliable. So I felt very confident in my team being able to stall it out, or that them not really needing me there. And especially since my AD carry and support was stronger than the enemy AD carry and support, I knew most likely that they were going to have control over mid. Now, if our team was considerably far behind, then it would probably be a different story in which I would probably have to group. But again, since it's a relatively even game state, I didn't feel the need to group or compensate. So again, this is an opportunity where if I can value efficiency in terms of gold and XP, I will, because I don't necessarily need to be with the team in this situation. So I see Riven and Akali top. I'm constantly scanning for information. I'm constantly trying to find, okay, where is everyone? Where's Kindred? What's our vision looking like? That sort of thing. Because if I need to TP, I've got to be ready for that TP if something actually happens. Now, for some weird reason, my Caitlyn ends up getting caught here. I try to actually chunk this Oriana on rotation. My Morgana dies as well. So what do we know? They are probably going to look to get out my TP by starting that Baron. Now, this is where it kind of ties into champion identity. I'm Victor. I need to be there from the start. I don't want to be at the fight late. I don't want my Riven and Graves to already have started the fight before I even get there. I need to be there first to poke, throw my ultimate down, poke from a distance with my E, that sort of thing. So I get one wave. Then I see Oriana, and instead of TPing later and waiting for Riven and Graves to face check, I TP early and get them off the Baron. So we end up disengaging. They can't really do the Baron anymore because we're relatively strong. And I just thought that was like a really solid... Again, and we just disengage and we can stall the game and, again, wait for Caitlyn Morgana. Now, sometimes that's going to be the case. Sometimes you have to do these sorts of TPs. You have to do these sorts of plays where, you know, ideally, I would love to be in the bot lane right now because no one is there. I can maybe get bot tower, maybe can deny their blue buff, that sort of thing. But again, you got to tie into the game your champion's identity and what sort of fights your champion is looking for. So very, very important there. Because in an alternate reality where my Riven and my Graves end up face shaking this river, they get engaged on, and then I TP, it's probably going to be too late. They might die, get chunked, and then they can probably do the Baron anyway. So I'm really trying to think in the future about what sort of fight do I want, and what will the fight look like if I TP early, which I thought would be turned into some form of front to back. I could disengage, poke them from a distance, that sort of thing. Now, in that same game, now this time 22 minutes 30, it's getting quite spicy, very, very close game. I don't have TP and I don't have flash. I have a little bit of vision here in the river, so I felt like I could just get this wave out. Now, Baron's actually up, and Dragon, I believe, is coming up in around a minute 40, minute 30. So in these sorts of games, Dragon stacking is very important because then it gives you that elder threat later in the game. If the enemy tries to trade objectives, that sort of thing. So I get this wave, and again, remember, trying to get as many side waves as possible. But now, because of my vision and because of where my teammates are, I initially actually start pathing down here because I don't really feel safe walking into the river. Then my team ends up looking to walk into river here, and because I waited a little bit, I thought that they wouldn't be camping here anymore, so I end up walking back into the river. Now, again, I'm Victor. I'm not necessarily a split push champion. I want the front to back team fight. Now, when it comes to mid game, guys, what is one of the most important things you need to understand? The team that gets the push off this mid wave generally can control vision, gets first move to objectives, and gets to dictate what sort of fight happens. So when it gets to mid game, especially if it's a very close game, it's unlikely that I will sit in the side lane. I tend to push and move, knowing that if my team is able to get first move off this mid wave and get push off that one wave, we're going to be able to control vision, we're going to be able to dictate where the fight happens, and most likely see them from a distance because, again, we're pushing that vision a little bit deeper. So I push, I group with my team, and we begin to clear vision. Caitlyn and Riven get the mid wave. And now look what happens. We're the ones getting control. We're the ones pushing our vision out. So it's much harder for them to get a favorable fight because we're just going to see where they are all the time. Now, what's the next thing? Mid-wave. As soon as mid-wave arrives, you need to be there as it crashes every single time. You can't afford to be over here in the river or halfway up around the river or in their jungle, whatever, when the mid lane actually crashes. You need to be there as it crashes so you can get first push off that wave. So again, we see them, they're scared, we get the wave, get some poke down, Caitlyn's getting the wave, beautiful. Now look what we do here. Because we have first push off the wave, we can poke them, we can see them, we can actually start to potentially bush camp. This is great for Victor. This is great for our champions. We have Morgana binds, my combo has a lot of burst, we have sweeper. We're really making it hard for them. Now these guys don't really know what we're doing. They don't know if we're looking to start Baron Dragon on spawn. They don't know whether we're bush camping. They don't know where we are. They don't know what we're doing. Very, very important. So they're panicking. They're like, okay, let's maybe trade objectives. Maybe they thought we were on Dragon. But because we're, again, very, very close, as the mid-wave comes, I'm always trying to be here, ping assist. And if my team's not there, my team's not with me, I will ping assist me on this mid-wave. A lot of the time, I spam ping assist me on this mid-wave, knowing that how important it actually is to get push off this wave. And as you get higher elo, people will understand this. But if you're in Platinum or Diamond, a lot of the time they won't. It is something you guys can do. So we get the wave. Now look how much control this gives us. Look how hard it is for this team to. What do they do? We can just push them out now. And now this is the beauty of pushing mid wave. Now if they back off the Baron, you can literally go back mid and get mid tower. You can literally keep pushing up mid and deny them farm, get more towers. So me and Riven see that opportunity. We're pinging assist me. We can get free mid tower here. They're losing CS, and we're getting a ridiculous amount of control. Because our teammate didn't follow, it doesn't really matter. We can end up start taking this fight. And it ends up being a pretty sloppy fight, but we end up coming up ahead. Because we just have... It's really solid for me and Riven. We can dictate what the fight will look like. We see them all on our vision, coming in from a good angle. And especially for Victor, coming in from an open, like I wasn't getting collapsed on by anyone, playing the fight front to back. And just overall being very efficient with farm. So this all happened, and this was all the result of just valuing that mid-wave. Valuing getting pushed off the wave. Valuing, making them make a choice. Making them react. Eventually, they will slip up, and eventually, you will get the fight that's coherent with your champion. Now, note, if I'm playing a different champion, if I'm playing like a Fizz, or a Zed, or something like that, then... if I feel like my team's confidently going to be able to get this mid-wave, let's just say, like, I know that my team's stronger, the enemy can't really contest this mid-wave with us, then what I'll actually do, I'll actually start posturing in these little pockets. I might go around the back here, I might go up here and sit in these corridors with my sweeper, sweep vision, and pink woods. What I'm trying to do then is look for a potential flank, or look for a potential angle to get onto their back line. Now, the great thing about this strategy as well, it gives me so many more options as an assassin to get onto the back line. If I'm a Fizz here in this situation, I'm actually pretty happy because I can go around here. I can actually go around the back there and sit on the side. It makes it really easy for me to, jockey position and get into a position where I can take the fight that I want. And conversely, as a mid lane mage that wants to play front to back, I know where my team is. We see them on vision. It's much, much easier. So I thought this was, again, a really nice, solid example. And all solid mid-game decision-making does is increase your chances of getting a favorable fight. And it's not going to be perfect all the time. We're not playing LCK. We're not playing LPL. You're not going to get the perfect situation. You're just creating an edge. And an edge is sometimes all you need to come up ahead within a certain fight. That's the way, again, it's all the small details that lead to a favorable situation. So let's actually take a look at another example, guys. So in this example here, guys, I'm actually playing Zed. Now, I was versing a Zoe. Zoe ended up getting caught out in the mid lane somewhere. It's 19 minutes 30, so Baron's about to come up in 30 seconds. But because my Sylas was already top, I decided to just start catching bot waves, shove it all the way out, then look to swap topside. Because my ultimate goal this game was I didn't really want to be bot anymore. I just wanted to shove this out, recall, and go all the way topside and start, getting control onto the top side of the map, preparing for that Baron or looking to potentially make a pick. So in the process, or in the meantime, shoving out this wave, knowing that the enemy, I believe it was Camille, was topside, I knew that I was most likely going to be alone, or the only person that could be here was the enemy jungle. Now, in terms of teammate location, what do I see? My Skarner is here with me. Yes, my Lulu and my Sylas are topside, but I knew that we had vision here, and more importantly, I knew that Zoe was dead, and I knew that the enemy AD carry and support just showed mid, so they were not here either. It was only Graves. So Skarner also sees that. So I try to bait in this Graves a little bit, try to act innocent, and then I use my Yomus, and we get a nice little pick onto this Graves. Beautiful. He ends up killing the Graves. We get that. Now, this is a concept that not many people talk about, but I think it's very, very important. I believe G2 or someone is... G2, someone from G2 mentioned this concept somewhere, but they said something about like how they don't believe in like lane assignments. It's whoever's closest to the farm. Now, the reason being is that this is much more efficient. So it's much more efficient for me while I'm here to shove out this wave, shove out the next 1 or 2 waves, then recall, than it is for me to recall right now and then Sylas, then walk all the way there to here and then whatever. It's much easier for me to get the farm here, then swap after. So, as a result, I decide to just start getting this farm. So I get this farm, I push, and while I'm here, might as well get the next wave. And Sylas knows this. Sylas knows that it's much more efficient, so Sylas just goes top. So Sylas is just going top, I'm just going here, and I know that I have the room because my teammate location, again, my Skarner and my Lulu and my Vision are here. I feel quite safe to get the next wave out as well. So I get the next wave as well. Again, as many waves as possible. This is a situation where I can afford to be a little bit more efficient rather than grouping with my team as well because my team's ahead. So that's another factor I'm considering here. Not only teammate location and vision and efficiency, I'm also thinking about my team's ahead. The enemy, it's going to be really hard for them to engage onto an Ezreal and a Lulu. Skarner's very tanky. Sylas is hard to kill. I felt quite confident in my ability for my team to just play safe for a little bit while I shove out this wave. And again, if we do this and they don't die, we're going to get very, very far ahead. So I get those few waves. I'm able to base and get my Duskblade. Now, as a result, instead of going bot, now, because I can't go bot anymore. Baron's up. I don't have TP. Camille's actually a bit of a problem for me. And plus, Sylas has TP. So I know Sylas really wants to match Camille bot. So instead of me going all the way to bot right now, it's much more efficient for me to start just posturing topside. And then Sylas is most likely going to recall soon. Or Sylas is thinking, okay, I'm actually going to stay here and look for a fight, look for a pick, or even force the Baron, and then force the Camille TP out. Because we actually have a lot of pick potential with Sylas and Skarner and Zed. So I start pathing all the way onto top side of the map here. Now, I believe Zoe just escapes, and now what do we see? Camille's bot, Sylas most likely is going to start recalling, but I'm not fussed because the wave's all the way down here anyway, so he has plenty of time to start his recall now and get onto the bot side of the map. But now what's the beautiful thing here is that I don't have anything else to attend to. I theoretically could have gone for these Krugs here, but again, my teammate location, they're posturing very, very aggressively. We have a lot of pick potential between my ultimates, I've spiked, and between Skarner's ultimate. So I'm already looking to be here and look for a potential pick. I know that if we get a pick, we could potentially Baron as well. So this also ties into champion identity. If my champion was something that, or our team comp didn't necessarily have a lot of pick potential, then maybe I would potentially get those Krugs. Maybe I would call for a Baron and then tell the team to start it and we turn, that sort of thing. I don't know, but I'm playing Zed this time, so I know that I want to look for a pick. So I'm just posturing out of vision here, trying to set up a potential pick. Now we see Graves. Get a nice little kill onto the Graves here. And then as a result, because our champions have so much pick and we're so far ahead, Sylas ends up deciding to just TP bot because he's overstayed on the map. And then we end up getting 2 towers mid and an inhibitor, which is really, really solid. And we're able to be quite efficient because we shoved all the way top. We sort of top out. We got the top tower as well. We got 2 towers mid. And this is just one of those situations, guys, where I knew that if I grouped, we could probably do something. I knew that this Ezreal Lulu were significantly far ahead of their counterparts. I knew Skarner was posturing very aggressively, and the way Skarner had played up until this point was that he was looking for a play. He was looking to push his lead and get something done. Again, if we didn't have that much engage, and I probably wouldn't do this, maybe I actually would have... Sylas probably assumed this as well, and probably assumed that a play would happen. So instead of insta recalling, he's actually just staying on the map thinking something might happen. Maybe I would have went bot or something in the meantime. I don't know. But I just think this is a really solid example of getting a feel for the game pace, getting a feel for what's actually happening based off all these variables, based off the factors that I described in this video so far. So let's actually take a look at another example. So the same game, 27 minutes and 57 seconds. The next objective is Dragon. I end up getting a pick onto the Zoe in the side lane. Now, what do we know about Zed and that champion's identity? We know most likely that we want to be coming in from the side and threatening the backline. I don't want to be playing the front to back fight. I don't want to be coming in from vision, but I don't want to be unnecessarily grouping with my team if I don't think they need me. Because again, if I don't need to group, I don't necessarily need to be there for a specific fight, or a fight's not really breaking out, then I should find a way to be efficient with gold and XP. So I get that pick. I feel like I don't really necessarily need to recall. My teammate location, my Lulu had just recalled, my Silas has just recalled. I killed the enemy Zoe. We have quite a bit of vision here on the bot side. So I feel pretty comfortable, and my Skarner's in the area. I feel pretty comfortable with continuing to shove out this side wave. So fast forwarding a little bit here. I continue to shove out the side wave, knowing I've got plenty of vision, and knowing the next objective's Dragon. And the great thing about this is, if I know most likely a fight's going to break out around this area, because objectives, the way I like to view objectives, Dragons and Rift Heralds are like giant magnets. The great thing about them is that you can use objectives as a tool to help you identify where the next fight's going to break out. So in this situation, I know the enemy team is quite desperate to get a fight off and contest the next objective, because I believe it's an Infernal Soul. It's the Infernal Soul. So I know that I need to be looking to position onto the backline, and how am I going to do that? So either I have to make a choice. Either I need to come in from a flank this way, knowing that it's most likely they're going to come in from this little angle here, so I could maybe sit in the side lane bush or something like that. Or even better, if I can both simultaneously be efficient by getting side lane waves and find a way to get on the back line, that's probably going to be even better. So I decided to get the next wave as well, feeling pretty safe because of my amount of vision here. And I believe I don't use my W here. I hold on to my W because that's my only form of self-peel. Because I don't want to overcommit just in case Camille comes in flying. So, Silas is TPing early to the fight because he knows he needs to be early to the fight. He can't TP in late. Now, I'm posturing aggressively from the side, looking to get onto the backline. They're pulling out the Dragon. This is beautiful. Just like I said before, if they're going to contest, they're going to come from this direction. I knew they were going to come from that direction. And so I was already thinking about this way in advance. I already knew that if a fight was going to break out, they're not going to come through here. They're going to come through mid. And the main reason I know that, again, most teams, the way they work in solo queue is they will follow the direction of the AD carry. And the AD carry does not want to be in the side lane. Ashe is going to be mid, so they would need to be with their Ashe. Ashe is going to push in mid, then they're going to walk in through that way. This is going to happen 90% of the time. There's some rare situations where maybe the AD carry was catching waves in the side lane, and then they do come from that way. But generally, it's going to be around their AD carry. So, as a result, I get this wave. I've been quite efficient. I got 230 CS by 28 minutes, which is, it's not too bad. And now I'm able to get access onto the backline. Then I see the Graves here. I'm able to get a really nice triple shuriken onto this guy and end up one-shotting him. And then I can, again, reposition and get back onto the backline. We're able to get the Dragon because I killed the enemy jungle. And then we end up taking a really solid fight on the back end, acing them, getting the Infernal Soul, that sort of thing. So again, those factors, those fundamentals, I don't just look at it in specifics and be like, I want to really replicate that. If this situation happens again, I'm going to do that. Yes, I want to replicate it, but how do I replicate it? What factors did I consider that will allow me to replicate it? And if I were to look back at this VOD, when I did, I'm like, okay, beautiful. I factored in where the next fight, the next objective. I factored in my teammate's location. I factored in vision. I factored in, the side wave, what side wave I needed to be in, the timer of the objective, that sort of thing. All these same factors, and the way I want to play fights, that sort of thing, which will allow me in the future to replicate getting this sort of fight. And again, I knew that the enemy couldn't necessarily engage just because we were so hard to engage on as well. So I felt confident that I didn't need to be there now, and especially because we're ahead. If we were behind and like maybe my Skarner, my Ezreal was really far behind, or the Ashe was really far ahead, or that sort of thing, then maybe I couldn't really afford to do this. Maybe I would have to look for a pick before the fight. Maybe I had to be over here first because I can't afford to be late. That sort of thing. But because obviously Graves and stuff like that, I just didn't feel like they could reliably engage through the Lulu Ezreal Skarner. I felt like quite quite easy. So let's dive into another example, guys. So in this example here, guys, I'm playing Annie. I've got around 127 CS by 14 minutes 48, which is not too bad. This was a game I was playing in around, this is on my plat account. I think it's playing at around Platinum 2, mid-Platinum or something like that. My top laner got pumped, my bot lane got pumped, and my jungle got pumped. So I'm pretty much the only one who's strong on my team. So I was trying to find a way to both be efficient with my farm and be as strong as possible, while also, you know, not necessarily split all the time because I'm Annie. I don't have much split threat. I can get chased out and I can get picked. I want to be playing that front to back team fight with my team. So what do we see here? I actually tell my teammates the lane assignments. I'm looking for a pick onto this Darius, knowing that he doesn't have any MR, so I know I could probably look for a pick on him. So I'm trying to posture around. Leon is hovering me. I'm ping on my way. He goes on him, he goes, I end up deciding to flash ultimate and get a flash ultimate, get a really nice pick onto this Darius. Now, my default response is to get side lane farm and find a way to be efficient. So I'm beautiful, I'm in the side lane, I'm getting side lane farm, beautiful, looking good so far. If I can shove out more, I will. And what do I see? I saw Garen already getting mid. I see Tristana bot. I've already got this pick onto Darius. I feel relatively safe getting this next wave, knowing that I know the only person that can be here is Nunu. So the only person that can be here was Nunu. So I'm like, all right, if Nunu comes, he comes. Not a big deal. So I'm just, again, getting this farm. Looking great. Then I see Nunu, I see Shaco. The only person, again, that can be here is Nunu. Syndra's mid. I decide to get this farm and just back off. Now, I have a few options here, right? I could potentially stay here, look for this tower, that sort of thing, go back to base, whatever. But, like I said in my last example, objectives are like a magnet. And what is one of the most important objectives in the entire game? It's mid-tier 1. Mid-tier 1 in itself is probably the biggest magnet in the entire game. It's the most important tower in the entire game. The longer this tower is up, the longer the game will go. I guarantee you, if you go into a game, if you're playing, and as you know, if you're a Victor main or an Anivia main or a Ziggs main, any of these long-range wave clear champions, you know very well that if you're able to keep that mid-tier 1 tower alive, most likely you're going to be able to stall out the game, scale nicely, and get to your key item spikes. But if for some reason the enemy get a Rift Herald early in the game, you die to a gank, you blow flash, and they break that mid-tier 1, the game turns to pure chaos. You're not going to be able to slow down the pace of the game. They're going to deny your jungle camps. They can start objectives. They're going to push the vision line deeper. It's an absolute nightmare. So in my situation here, I know that, yes, ideally, I would want to be in the side wave, be efficient, farm. 144 CS, 15 minutes 40, looking quite good. But I also want to defend this mid lane tower, and I know they will really want it as well. So instead of being here and staying here, I realize that I need to go mid. So I end up pathing mid. And what do we see? Syndra and Shaco are posturing here. For some reason, my team engages, very, very strange, and they end up just getting double killed or whatever. Not a big deal for me because I still feel like I can defend this tower. And as long I can defend this tower, and note, if I didn't path exactly as I did and maybe stay top, they would have been able to get this tower, and then it would have been really hard for me to stall this game out. So I end up staying mid here, catching a few waves, really defending this tower, which is great for my team. And being relatively efficient as well. So I take this little opportunity here to recall, knowing that Tristana should be mid, and I'm pinging the next objective is Rift Herald. But there's so much time, and I don't really feel like we're going to be able to contest it anymore, so I decide to just give it. Recall now, trade it off, let's just go bot lane and play around the next objective, which is just going to be this Infernal. So I don't want to share XP with this Tristana, so I decide to recall. They agree, Rift Herald, accept reality, whatever. Now, I know that if Nunu and Syndra are on top side of the map there, I see Shaco there, so I know Draven is a lone bot. And I don't want to share XP mid. I don't think there's going to be a fight mid here, although because they've already got the mid wave, so I decide to go bot lane. Pretty self-explanatory. Go bot, get this wave. We end up getting a pick onto this Draven here. Beautiful. My default response after we get a kill is to shove the wave. Shove and move. Shove and move. That's my default response. Get this wave. I get the next wave as well. Really, really nice. And to be honest, I was just accepting reality that we're going to lose mid-tier 1 now. So I wasn't overly fast. But I was panning my camera a lot here trying to assess the level of engage and the level, like, how are people posturing. And by the way this Darius was posturing, because he theoretically could be in the side lane right now, it sent a message to me that I need to be there. I can't afford to be there late. So I literally start to just walk up, knowing that, okay, Draven was dead. Syndra ended up showing bot, but I knew they were going to commit mid. I knew most likely a fight was going to happen just by the way they were posturing. And I was dead. I was spot on. A fight ended up breaking out. I probably could have TP'd or whatever, but I ended up deciding to walk here. Shaker ends up screwing me. With a box, and it ended up being a really, really hard fight for me, and I ended up just dying. And this is not the way I would want to play this fight as any. I think this is my game-losing play here. I could have carried this game if I actually played Peel and walked around and played the front-to-back fight. Because I think I did all the right things, the macro steps. I just mis-executed the team fight, ended up throwing my lead here, giving a shutdown, and then the game ended up being really, really hard. So, as you can see, though, I made the best of a really poor situation. And this is all because of those factors. I'm factoring in efficiency and keeping my farm as high up as possible. I'm considering the next objective in the magnet of tier 1 tower. I'm assessing the level of engage on the enemy. I'm factoring in, okay, what is Darius doing there? Why would Darius be mid if he's not looking to set up the siege with the Rift Herald or look for a fight mid? Something most likely is going to happen. I don't trust my team because there's lower elo as well. I can't afford to come to the fight late. And that also ties into my champion identity as well. I'm always thinking, oh, I probably need to be here. So I think this was a really great example of that whole 2 minutes of, being at the right place at the right time. But it's not luck, right? You can see it as luck, right? But it's not. I do this again and again and again whenever I play in lower elos. It's so easy to know what's going to happen if you just look at the map. And you can't think, guys, you can't think about this stuff if you don't have champion mastery as well. I only know this is because I know my champion's identity so well. I know my abilities. I know my power spikes. I'm not having to think about the micro of my champion because I've played a lot of Annie. And especially on a champion like Annie, she's relatively simple as well. But I'm not going to be able to think about these macro game concepts if I'm learning a new champion. All this stuff comes later on once you're very, very comfortable with the champion you're on. And as you can see, it's the same factors considered just in differing things. And over time, as you get into your reviews, you'll start to see the trends. Okay, here, I just didn't pan my camera enough. I didn't assess the situation. I didn't think about the next objective. I didn't think about the level of engage. I didn't think about when I needed to be there. I didn't think about my champion's identity. Do I need to be at the fight at the start or the end? That sort of thing. So it's all about maximizing your chances of creating those favorable fights. Now in this example here, guys, I'm playing Zed. This time we're more in late game, 27 minutes in. My CS is actually pretty dismal. I only got 167. A few things we need to consider here. We've actually got Cloud Soul, Baron's on up for ages, Elder's on up for 3 minutes 30, so we have plenty of time. I have plenty of time to do differing things. Now, when I'm heading into late game, I try to think more of the level of engage and the level of threat they have on my team, and what does my team want to do as well. So the reason that's important to consider as you get later into the game is because people have more damage. Because the later the game goes, the easier it is for people to get caught out purely because of the amount of burst. So, like, you look at this Syndra. She's got 9, 3, and 6. She's got 3 items. Zanivia support's really, really strong. They have a Kiana. They have a Fed Aatrox. I know that if they pick someone, if the fight starts, it's probably going to be played relatively fast. Now, we are ahead, which means that and we have plenty of vision just looking at those variables on the bot side of the map. They have, I would say, a pretty limited amount of engage, especially into Bard, Ashe, Sejuani, Maokai. It's relatively hard. So I know that I don't necessarily need to be there straight away. So if I can have a little bit more of a value on efficiency, my gold and XP, I will. I'm always looking for that extra opportunity to get more farm and more XP in the side lane. So I end up shoving out here, constantly looking, panning my eyes on the minimap just to see what's up here. If a fight breaks out, I'm ready to go. So right now, I know that none of them can really match me in the side lane apart from Aatrox, but I know if Aatrox does match me in the side lane, my team will win 4v4. So I'm quite happy with that as well. But then I see Aatrox top side. I see Syndra go out of vision a little bit, so I'm just playing a little bit patient here. But I'm trying to create a man advantage. If I can create a man advantage, either one or two things is going to happen. Someone's going to want to come bot, catch this wave in which I can pick them in rotation, or I can kill them 1v1, or I leave them, they catch that wave, and I actually create a man advantage 4v5 fight and force coming in on the back end or something like that. Or they just stay grouped. I can either continue to go for this tower, or I just group, they miss all this farm, and then I can rinse repeat. Push, group, keep denying them CS, and I get really, really far ahead. So in this situation, I knew my team was already posturing. I was looking on the minimap here, pan my camera. Most likely because we have an Ashe, Maokai's engaging, I need to be there. I don't want to come in super late from the fight. Like, I don't mind coming in a little bit late because I'm a Zed, but I don't want to be so late that the fight's already over. So I start to posture already. I'm running here with my Yomus. I'm able to get onto the back line, which is great for Zed as a champion. I kind of mis-execute this fight, which is a bit of a bummer, but the theory is really solid. And able to here fast forwarding a little bit. Now, again, able to kind of get onto the back line again, get a nice little kill, shut down onto the Syndra. So it's all about positioning. It's all about considering those same factors. Nothing's really special. There's very little luck involved, although that's an element of it. A lot of the time, if you're considering these factors, you'll notice your mid-game decision-making go up significantly. So if you find yourself getting ahead in lane, but not really able to translate leads, then there's probably a massive problem somewhere in terms of along the line of whether you're not, some of these factors that you're just straight up not considering. And guys, take your time. This is a relatively complex part of the game. So I'm hoping these examples really are trying to fill in, color that painting, give a little bit more context, because I do talk about these things in my videos a lot. So hopefully this will kind of help you in your own VOD review. So let's actually take a look at one last example, guys. So in this example here, guys, I'm playing Victor. We're about 17 minutes into the game. My jungle just died. The enemy jungle just died. And both AD carries died as well. Rift Herald's coming up in about 22 seconds. And Dragon's coming up in 48 seconds. Now, in these situations, if I don't think I immediately need to be there for an objective fight, again, I will value farm. Because all of these people are dead, I didn't think we would be starting Rift Herald on spawn, especially since Rift Herald is coming up in 22 seconds, and Sylas is coming up in 28 seconds. So based off of all of these death timers, and just the way this game was playing, I kind of felt like everyone was scared to go for this Rift Herald, and most likely the next fight's going to be happening over this Dragon, and especially since at this point of the game, people really like to start stacking dragons. It's just a very common thing, especially in high elo games. So in the meantime, I end up getting my blue buff here, and because I don't need to immediately group, since Shen is already getting mid wave and I don't really want to share farm, I decide to go to the side lane. Now, I felt relatively safe going to the side lane because Na was behind. I'm very far ahead of Orianna. I feel like I'm in a pretty decent spot right now. I've got a bit of vision here. No one showing on mid wave. This is where I'm starting to take in threat and the level of engage. I know because of Nunu, he's not going to be here straight away. If Na comes, I can deal with him. Orianna can't pick me. I feel very, very, very safe. Now, when I'm in the side lane, I'm not autopiloting. I'm thinking all of these factors. I'm not just sitting here and hoping no one's here. I'm making an educated guess based off the information that I've assessed over the past few minutes of the game. So I'm able to get this next wave as well. The more waves, the better. Ideally, you want to be able to push it as deep as possible. If you're pretty far ahead and you have plenty of vision, you can push it relatively deep. So I'm able to get a nice little ward here, clear a pink ward. Then I see 4 of the members topside, and Nara is the only person in the side lane here. Now, I made an educated guess here as well because I saw the enemy topside there. I think it was the Nunu heading into topside jungle. That they weren't going to contest this dragon. They were probably going to give dragon. And the reason being is that we had pushed off mid. We were already on the dragon here. We had plenty of vision. They were kind of late. So I made an educated guess that they were not going to contest. So in the meantime, if I don't need to be there and I don't really feel like we had force, like we had the ability to force, because again, Shen has no ult now. Engage is kind of average into their team comp. And I'm playing Victor. I'm like, I just want to value my farm. I'm nearly at my Ludens anyway. I'm just going to get this side lane farm, and then potentially look to posture here with my team. So there's Ori, and in the meantime, I'm just grouping with my team just in case anything happens. Now, my default response here, I was initially going to go bot, but then I realized there was no wave. So then Shen gets a really nice pick. I end up missing my taunt, my E, sorry, and we end up taking this team fight. So we take this team fight. Long story short, ends up being a quite a sloppy team fight, but we get some kills, and it works out pretty well. I think it's a 4-for-1. So really, really solid. Now, in these situations, because there's, again, no immediate objective, we're not doing Baron, we're probably not going to go for... there's no need for me to share farm with my enemy, with my teammates mid. A few things run through my mind. What jungle camps are up? And if there are any nearby, I really want to get them, because when you're ahead, the guaranteed way of winning a game is denying the enemy jungle camps. Because not only what will happen if we take these raptors, we take their Krugs, or we're around here, we take their topside camps, whatever. We're getting their camps. We're going to recall, get our jungle camps and waves. So we're getting everything. We're getting absolutely everything on the map, and that's how you get really, really far ahead. So my first response is, okay, who's going to get these raptors? Who's going to get the waves? So I decide, okay, Shen's already on mid wave. I don't want to share farm. There's a bot wave here that needs to be fixed, so I go bot wave here. And I'm just looking at the timers in terms of tempo. I don't feel like the enemy can even do anything, even if they do have tempo over me. Like, yes, Orianna will have tempo because the 8-second recall thing, she already has 1 second of tempo. Every second from now, plus 1 second, she'll have a lot of tempo on me. But I'm like, screw it. Like, they're all dead. I don't want to share XP mid. I'm just going to continue to shove out bot and be extremely efficient. And this is how you guarantee to get ahead in mid to late game. So I get that as well. And then I decide to recall, knowing that I probably need to be back onto the map. So, again, I think this gives you, this little play here gives you a little bit of a snippet or an insider look into, how you can make sure to maintain and guarantee that win when heading into mid to late game, but just through sheer efficiency and, again, factoring on all of those factors. So the last clip, again, is going to be within this same game, guys. So we're in the same game here. This time we're 35 minutes and 32 seconds in, so it's definitely it's definitely in late game now. We end up securing the Cloud Soul, but it came at the cost of our AD carry's life, and I believe he's flashed, but I'm not 100% sure. But there's no immediate objective up anymore. We've already got bot inhibitor. We've shoved that out. That's going to be shoving out, so we can't really attend that lane anymore. I don't have flash. I don't have teleport. I have teleport soon, but that's not really going to matter at this point of the game anyway. Now, in these situations, again, I just want my Rabadons. I've got one needlessly large rod. I just want my Rabadons. In the meantime, if my AD carry is dead, I need to find a lane to farm. I need to ideally get jungle camps, and I need to be posturing myself in the area where the next objective is going to be. So in this situation, I decide to, I end up getting these raptors. One-shot the raptors, go mid, get a bit of farm here, knowing that no one's going to catch this wave anyway. Then I make my way up topside, knowing that my AD carry is coming out of base very, very soon, so he's going to have to go to a lane, have a lane to attend to, so I don't touch mid wave and let him deal with that wave. Then I get mid wave here, then I get Krugs, so I'm getting all these, I'm getting every single camp as possible, get the Krugs, shove out mid wave. Now I also know that we have quite a bit of vision here, and my team, you'll see in a second, begin to hover me. So I'm pinging here, assist me, that I want hover. My team basically knows what that means. Now Silas knows he's going to walk here. He starts walking into topside river. I see the enemy AD carry and support there, and I see nah bot. So the only people that can be here are the Orianna and the Nunu. But now that my Silas is hovering me, I feel relatively comfortable. Now, the enemy AD carry and support have pushed off the wave, but I still feel relatively comfortable because my jungle is here. And I'm checking these bushes with my E as well. So I'm trying to get this wave out as much as I can, because I'm getting very, very close to my Rabadons. So then I see the Scry's bloom, so I'm playing very, very careful. Then I see Orianna. Again, I'm checking these bushes with my laser. And then Silas is able to get a very nice play onto the enemy Orianna. And now we're kind of grouped again. I feel pretty comfortable to just be where I am now and group with the team. So this whole time, and then we end up like taking a fight here off that pick and winning the game. So this whole time, I wasn't dicking around, walking around with my hands down my pants. I was literally finding a way to be as efficient as possible, getting all the jungle camps, giving the farm to my AD carry as well, getting him to push out mid, knowing that we don't really want to share XP and he needs something to do when he comes out of base. Being at the right place at the right time, showing out top wave, because the next objective is going to be this Baron anyway, so we're going to have to shove out this wave and get control. Now, if my jungle couldn't hover me here, maybe the game was a lot closer and we weren't that far ahead, then I would only get this wave. If my jungle wasn't going to hover me here, then I would group back mid with my team and establish control as a 4. Then, continue to poke with E, look for a potential fight, that sort of thing. Then once we establish control on the river, then I would walk up, catch this wave, and then shove deeper, knowing that I have that vision. sometimes what you can do if your AD carry and support are strong, or they're getting pressured by themselves, just a jungle can actually come in from the top side with you here, and as a duo with two, you can shove this out and then go from top to mid rather than mid to top. So that's another little thing you can do there. But again, I didn't feel like my teammates could get engaged on. We have plenty of vision. They're respecting. This is a bit of a high elo game, and I knew that we're ahead. So if we're behind, if I felt like they couldn't really, if they were going to get engaged on, I felt like they were getting engaged on, then I would probably group with my team, because I knew we had Shenol. Nautilus can peel very well. They're only engaged with Nunu, and it's pretty unreliable, that sort of thing. So hopefully you kind of see and understand, I guess, my thought process heading into mid game a little bit, mid to late game a little bit better now. What I wanted to do for you guys is, I want you guys to head into when you're heading into your own VOD review, start to think, rather than look at it in specifics, try to, have a think about what factors are at play, and pick one or two factors that maybe you're not considering at all, and potentially make that your learning objective. That could really, really help you out. So hopefully you found this useful, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll keep pumping out more videos. Cheers, guys.